Welcome back, everyone. Today, Alex and I are discussing candidate pools. Alex, could you kick things off by explaining what you mean by managing candidate pools and why it's crucial?
Yes, as we talked about before, candidate pools are the candidates that are qualified for a particular role in our organization. So, for example, you might have 100 candidates in your candidate pool or 1,000 candidates in your candidate pool. But the idea is that there's a limited number at any one time of candidates in your particular candidate pool. So what do we do with any limited natural resource? We need to think about how we're going to manage it, not just for today, but for tomorrow and for our future needs. So it's important for us to understand not only just what our candidate pool is, but what our relationship with our candidate pool needs to look like in order to ensure the long-term success of our organization.
That makes total sense, Alex. It's like you're treating the candidate pool as a valuable resource that needs careful management and nurturing. How would you suggest businesses start to build and maintain strong relationships with their candidate pools to ensure they're set up for the long-term success?
I think that one aspect of managing your candidate pool is not having an exploitative relationship with it. That is, how much can I get out of it right now? If that's our relationship, then we're going to end up with the same problems that we experience, tragedy of the commons, or maybe we're destroying our forests for a quick profit today, or we're destroying our waterways or our fisheries for the same short-term motivation. Where we want to be thinking about, if we treat our candidate pools this way, basically what we're doing is we're destroying our employer brand with those candidates. So somebody might be saying, how the heck is overfishing? What does that have to do with recruiting? I liken it to trout fishing. So let me take a quick trout fishing story. I have been the guest at a really cool fishing club out in western Nebraska, and there are pockets, little pools of water where giant trout live. And the thing is that in each one of those pools, there might be 100, 500 fish, but there might be only a handful of really big ones. And then there's just one dominant fish. And if you want to catch one of those really big ones, or the dominant fish, what's true is as soon as you disrupt the pool, as soon as you spook the pool, the only fish you're going to catch are the most hungry, the lowest on the totem pole fish. You're not going to catch the best ones. So the idea is similar from fishing to recruiting, is that if you disrupt the candidate pool by calling too much, sending too many emails, not taking no for an answer, then what you're going to end up doing is causing irritation to those candidates, disrupting their daily life. And then they're going to associate your brand with that frustration. And long term, they might not remember why they don't like your brand, but they'll definitely emotionally always feel that negative association. You want to take a swing at kind of summarizing up this argument, Tyler?
Absolutely, Alex. So what you're saying is that managing candidate pools effectively means avoiding an exploitative approach. Just like in fisheries or forests, overusing or mismanaging these resources can lead to long-term damage. In the context of recruiting, if we bombard candidates with calls and emails or ignore their preferences, we end up irritating them. This can tarnish our employer brand, and while candidates might not remember the exact reasons for their frustration, they'll still harbor negative feelings towards our brand. It's crucial to treat our candidate pools with respect, ensuring we maintain a positive relationship for future success. By being mindful of our interactions and considering the long-term impact, we can create a more sustainable and beneficial relationship with our candidates. Would you agree with that summary, Alex? And do you have any practical tips for businesses to avoid these pitfalls?
Yeah, I'd say that there's probably two recommendations that I would make, two lessons that we've learned in terms of managing candidate pools. The first one is to remember that in any campaign, you're going to disrupt people. If you don't make a hire, then you can't just go back to the candidate pool and look for more candidates. That's a losing proposition. So that leads into the second lesson that we've learned, which is to have a systematic approach to recruiting in that candidate pool and to essentially hire based out of whatever candidates are yield from that activity. Put it another way, we'd say, hey, we're only going to cast 12 times in this pool, and we're going to take whatever fish that we get that are over, let's say, 16 inches. So the idea is that We're going to do the best with what we can get right now. And rather than we're going to cast and cast and cast and cast and hope that we catch one of the big fish, when in reality, if you didn't catch it on the first try, or if you didn't catch it early, you're not going to catch it at all. I feel like we're really stretching on this one, but it's an idea that we're going to work out. It's an idea that's really core to our philosophy at Percivis, and it's something that I've learned that applies not just on the trout stream, but applies in recruiting as well.
That's really insightful, Alex. So the two key lessons here are: one, understand disruption. Recognize that any recruiting campaign will inherently disrupt candidates. If you don't make a hire from your initial efforts, it's not effective to continuously go back to the same pool hoping for different results. This approach can lead to overuse and frustration within the candidate pool. Two, adopt a systematic approach. Implement a systematic approach to recruiting. Decide on a set number of attempts or interactions and accept the best candidates that emerge from these efforts. This method respects the candidate pool and avoids the pitfalls of overfishing, ensuring that you maintain a positive relationship with the potential hires. By being mindful of these strategies, businesses can manage their candidate pools more effectively and sustainably. Alex, do you have any final thoughts or practical tips for businesses looking to implement these lessons in their recruiting processes?
No, I think that's a great place for us to leave off.
Great. Thanks, Alex. I think this conversation has given our listeners a lot to think about when it comes to managing their candidate pools effectively. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We'll catch you in the next episode.